In this two-player game, you and a buddy are in control of rival artillery cannons that politely take turns firing at each other to see who will become king of the mountain, or plains depending on what sort of terrain you get. While this sounds like a dull concept, it is actually pulled off quite nicely. When you begin, it looks and sounds like your 2600 is having a seizure, with the landscape violently changing at an alarming rate. After about 10 seconds of this, however, the game stabilizes and drops two artillery guns from the sky, one on the left, one on the right. While a lot of the landscapes are similar, they do appear to be randomized. When you also throw in the fact that the guns are never dropped in the same place and are at different elevations, each battle is somewhat unique. Once the battlefield is set, player 1 is given 30 seconds to aim and fire their gun. At the top of the screen, there will be a wind gauge, as well as two banks of numbers labeled B and P. The B is the angle of your barrel, with the higher the number being the higher the arc of the shot, useful for getting over obstacles. The P is your powder level, which determines how much velocity your shot has. Once you have these set, hit the fire button and watch your shot travel in what seems like slow motion across the battlefield. It is important to pay attention to where it lands, since if your opponent misses, you will have to adjust your shot before firing again. The back and forth continues until someone lands a lucky shot, at which point you get to watch with pride as your enemy's gun is destroyed and sent crumbling down to the ground below. You are also rewarded with some victory music, as well as two of your soldiers proudly marching across the screen. After the impromptu parade, the game goes into another seizure before planting two new artillery guns on a new landscape. The battle continues until one of you gets to 5 hits. Artillery Duel is actually a solid title with some decent, albeit slow, gameplay. The only downside is that it is 2 players only, so no facing off against the computer. So while it might be difficult to get a buddy to join you in combat, this would make an excellent tournament title. The box art does a nice job of showing off the big guns that you'll be firing off at your friend during the battle. The manual is straightforward, giving you a good understanding of the terrain and how to use your weapon effectively. The standalone version of this title is moderately rare. However, the rarity fluctuates greatly when it shows up on one of the double ender cards. It shared space with Ghost Manor, Spike's Peak, as well as Chuck Norris. While this looks and plays like a carbon copy of the much more popular and available Demon Attack, there are a few minor details that set Assault apart. The setup is that once again aliens are invading your home planet, and all that stands in their way of total domination is a lone ship piloted by you. An alien mothership flies at the top of the screen, dispatching 10 smaller alien ships during each wave. You are tethered to the bottom of the screen and can only move left to right in order to line up your shots to send them to whatever alien afterlife there is. Once the 10 alien ships are destroyed, you get a brief victory tune, the mothership changes color, and you are thrown right back into the fight. At the start, the aliens only fire a single shot as they politely wait for the ship below them to be destroyed before descending upon you. There can be a maximum of 3 ships on the screen at any given time, and they are forced to stay on their own level. Once they reach the bottom level closest to you, they change their firing type, which can range from batches of missiles to a ground-based attack. All of enemy vessels enjoy one-hit deaths. However, there are some varieties later on that split into 2 smaller ships when struck, which can lead to some major headaches due to some questionable design decisions. Given that your ship can destroy the enemy in a single shot, there's no question it is one of the most powerful instruments of destruction ever conceived by man. However, as with all powerful creations, there is a weakness, and this ship's Achilles heel is the fact that if it goes into rapid fire mode, it explodes due to overheating. You can squeeze off roughly 15 shots in rapid succession before exploding, which sounds like a lot until you factor in 6 small ships raining fire down upon you. The cooldown rate is also quite slow and doesn't reset between waves, which means you will often find yourself getting down to the last ship and pacing back and forth across the bottom of the screen, waiting for your gun to ease back from critical before taking the last one out. The controls take a little bit of getting used to as well. Unlike virtually every other game in this genre on the system, the fire button doesn't fire. Rather, it allows your ship to fire left or right to take out whatever ground-based attack the enemy will occasionally throw at you. And even then, you have to time your button and joystick press just right to make it happen. For the bulk of the game, you will have to press up in order to fire, which can be problematic once the screen is filled with fast-moving bad guys that require you to constantly be on the move. It's not game-breaking by any stretch, but it does force you to fight against your instincts. While there are some interesting ideas present here, The awkward firing mechanics and shot limit keeps it from being among the best on the system. If you have a desire to destroy aliens, there are far better options on the 2600. The box art for Assault only tells half the story, as half of it is covered up by the bomb publisher logo. The manual, while brief and to the point, does show off the full cover artwork, which is very dramatic in its depiction of the massive battle scene. Due to this being released by a small-time publisher, and right as the video game industry collapsed, it is exceedingly rare. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more Game Encyclopedia videos.